Okay, so let me put my camera on my helmet, if I can ever find the hole. There we go. So here we are. This is going to be the very first time that I'm ever going to attempt, well, that I have ever attempted to long line Xena, lunge while on the long line. So what I'm going to do is start off with just walking behind her. Walk on. Good girl. Good girl. And I've just got the basic setup, you know. Just the basic setup. For right now, I'm just going to walk in a circle with her, just to have her get familiarized with it. It's been a while since I long lined. I want to say, at least 5 months. So let her get familiar with it. And then what I've decided to do, good girl, is slowly but surely, I am going to move to her left. Where she is right now, I will be going to her left. Good girl. Good girl. Oops, had a little tripsy. I know all you're looking at right now is her butt, but it'll get better, I promise. So I'm just going to do 2 more laps, having her go around this way. And I'm going to do about 3-4 laps going the other way. Good girl. Good girl. Just so she's comfy, you know, giving her a little refresher. Keeping her as close to the rail as I can. Good girl. That gives her a little security blankie, you know. Good girl. Good girl. Got her head nice and low. She's stretched out now. Stretched out nicely. Let's go trot trot. Good girl. And walk. Good girl. Walk. Good girl. And that's basically what I want from her right now. I'm going to turn her. Good girl. Good girl. No. Oh. No, don't come towards me. When this happens, just take a little breather, relax. She's getting a little confused. She's a little nervous. It's okay. That's a good girl. It's okay. Getting a little confused, a little nervous. So I'm going to turn her. Good girl. Good girl. I'm just going to have her stand here. When she drops her head, then I'll turn her and we'll take it from there. Good girl. Good girl. It's okay. She's still a little tense. I can tell by her tail. It's all tucked in. It's all tucked in. When she drops her head, then I'm going to get her going again. But for right now, I'm just going to stand here and do nothing. And I find myself somewhat excited, so I know it transcends over to her. So this is new to me, it's new to her. I just got to remember to stay calm. It's easier said than done when you're doing something new. Her head hasn't dropped yet, so I'm still waiting for that. Once she drops it, that's a good indicator that she's relaxed. So her ears are totally towards me. She's listening. Good girl. Good girl. I'm just going to let her stand here. If it takes a while for her to drop her head, then it takes a while. That's okay. We're not going anywhere. a little distracted. Good girl. Good girl. Good girl. Come on. And we're a little wobbly right now, but that's okay. That's okay. This is just a refresher course. See, her head is down. She's nice and relaxed, and I'm sure walk on. Good girl. Good girl. I'm sure she's probably wondering. Good girl. Good girl. She's wondering what the hell is going on. What does she want? What am I doing? I see her trying to get out of the circle. And I'm just, no, go back in it. And I'm just going to have her walk till she's completely comfortable, stays in the circle. No. Walk on. Good girl. Walk on. Good girl. Now she's nice and relaxed. Right around here, she's comfortable. Good girl. And I know right over here, she tries to get out of the circle. So I'm going to counteract that with pulling a little bit. Come on. There you go. Good girl. Good girl. Get back in the circle. Come on. Good girl. Good girl. These long lines that I have are not really long, so I can't do a complete lunging with her, but I can start stepping out a little bit once I notice that she's relaxed and okay with what's going on right now. Good girl. Good girl. Good girl. Right now I have contact with both reins. Good girl. Good girl. Good girl. Good girl. Now, see, I stepped out a little. Oh, it's okay. And she got a little confused. That's okay. Let her get confused. Good girl. So what I'm going to start doing, I see now I'm going to have to inch my way out. Little by little. Good girl. I don't know if you noticed, but she is watching me. I'm keeping her on the outside of the ring with the right rein. I have more contact with it as I notice her trying to get away from me, okay? Just like here. Good girl. Good girl. Good girl. And as you can see, I have the right rein around the back of her butt. That makes it a whole lot easier for me to pull her back into the circle. Good girl. Good girl. Yeah, you pull. You go stretchy, stretchy. Good girl. Good girl. Good girl. Good girl. And ho. Good girl. Good girl. Good girls. See, she's chewing. Good girl, yes, good girl. Good girl. And walk. Good girl. I'm having very little contact with her mouth right now. Good girl. Good girl. Good girl. See if we can go a little faster. Good girl. Just getting a little nervous. That's okay. We'll just slow back down. Went a little too soon. Good girl. Good girl. So, and of course, what we do on one side, we will have to do on the other. And turning her will be rather interesting. But I'm going to try. So here we go. The trick is not to let them get ahead of you. Good girl. Good girl. Good girl. Good girl. I'm inching out towards her right now a little bit. And I'm keeping her in the circle. Good girl. Walk. Good girl. Walk. Good girl. Good girl. And she's confused because she sees me beside her. Walk. Good girl. She's a little worried, you know, hey, this has never happened before. What's going on here? Right? And I think that's how I'm going to have to keep going. It's just inching out a little more. Just a little more each time. Good girl. Lots and lots of praise. And let's take a little break. And ho. Good girl. Good girl. Good girl. Yes, good girl. Okay, what I'm going to do now, I am going to move the lines to the lower position. That'll give me more line back there on her butt. Hi, that's a good girl. Yes, you are. That's a good girl. Don't let them get ahead of you. Ho. Ho. Good girl. Good girl. That's a good girl. Yes, you are. Yes, you are. Good girl. And walk. Good girl. Good girl. Walk on. Good girl. See, she's very cautiously walking, and that's okay. I'm fine with that. As long as she's walking, I don't care if she's tippy-toeing. As long as we're moving forward. Good girl. Good girl. Good girl. Good girl. We got some gas going on. Those are all good signs. Good girl. Good girl. I'm going to try to inch out a little further. Good girl. And I'm going to try to, there we go. Good girl. Move the lunge line over a little. I mean the long line, sorry. And I'm almost beside her. Good girl. Good girl. I have very minimal contact with her mouth right now. Very minimal. Good girl. And ho. Good girl. Good girl. Yes. Good girl. Good girl. Good girl. Yes, you are. You're doing really good. Huh? All right, I'm going to stop this and then I'm going to restart.